Hi, this is Multi-Topic Talk. Welcome to this new video. We are covering Supergirl. This is my retrospective, the first part, and in this first part, we cover season 1 and 2. Just like past retrospective, I have seen the show again just for this video, and I will give an honest opinion. I will try my best to critique everything the best I can, and I hope I will entertain you. Now, as I am recording this intro, I am done watching all 6 seasons, and I am telling you, the weakest part of the show was the first 2 seasons, so stay tuned to see why, if you're interested to see why. And I will say this, season 3 and 4 were really good, and we will cover 3 and 4 in the second part of this retrospective. And the third and last part will cover the last 2 seasons of the show. With that being said, in this retrospective, just like all the others, I record as I am rewatching, and I also record the viewership and the comments from the audience on Rotten Tomato. I say the audience because they are the one that matter. The critique, they are sellout. I don't give a crap about them. I'm just curious to see what the fan base, what the people that watch the show that were invested because they were not paid, but because they wanted to see this show. I want to see what they had to say. Eat a snack. Drink something. This video will be long. Here we are with Supergirl. First season. Audience score 53. Critic score 92. This also tells us that the critics are out of touch. Look, I'm not paid to have my opinion, and my favorite TV show is Stargirl. So, sexist is not an issue. No, no, no. I have a critical mind. These critics are paid to just praise something. This is why it gets a 92. And this is why they are out of touch. First one gives a 2 stars, which is basically what I gave. Made it a few episodes into season 4 before I stopped watching. It's an okay show when the focus is actual superhero stuff. I agree, but hey, this is Supergirl we are talking about, so we need a lot of relationship, we need a lot of people in love, because it's all about love. But there's so much political preaching. I fully agree, I understand where you are coming from. About immigration, racism, gun control. Well, gun control is not that bad. We only had 1 episode in the 3rd season. And I feel like in the 3rd season it wasn't that bad, this episode. Yes, I said it, it wasn't that bad. I don't need the entertainment industry to tell me what to think. Exactly. This is Supergirl's biggest sin. They don't really represent well both sides. They always have the side they want to make win, or they always have that side they like more than the other, and they will place it forefront so you get into it yourself. Just entertain me, I agree. Boring! Now, this is not a critical thing, so I will disregard this one. This one is making me laugh right now. Next up, just started watching Netflix. It's okay. A little too derivative from Superman, I agree. I was hoping for new characters, not the same characters from Metropolis or their relative. That said, I've never been a Supergirl fan before, so I never read the comic. Well, I will tell you this, she is different. She is more like the Supergirl we had in Smallville. Because I've heard people talking about Supergirl in the comics. Exactly how I was hoping this show would kick off. Not perfect, as there are some things that could use improvement, aka dialogue, villain, but an awesome leading lady and epic action sequence made this a powerful show to kick off with. Oh my, sometimes the action sequence were not that great, but I mean, it's CW, what do you expect? Outside of Arrow, fight choreography feels flat. It was fun at times, incredibly boring at others. I agree 100%. Like I said, CGI is as bad as in Black Widow. Well, you compare like Black Widow 2021 production to 2015, it's laughable. And more than that, freaking Black Widow is a movie. Supergirl is a TV show. I mean, CGI is important regardless you are a TV show or a movie, but you cannot compare the both because one get 20K for example as a budget for 2 hour and a half, and the other get the same money but for 23 hours. So you cannot compare. You cannot say, "Oh, CGI is bad in this TV show, like just like the movie." No, it's two different things. Movie and TV show are very different. They don't deal with the same kind of money, and they cannot like destroy their budget in 2 hours because they have like 20 episodes to shoot. So when I see that kind of critique, I'm laughing my butt off. Anyway, except here it's understandable since this has lower budget. Thank you, but why did you brought Black Widow in the first place? Anyway, this still gets 1 star since Black Widow at least has good story. Okay, whatever. Next up, next up, next up. I ate the filler, the filter. I ate the filter on this site, even when I'm not typing anything offensive but have something meaningful to say. Oh yeah, I can see where you are coming from. I can barely watch a full episode of the series without feeling as if someone with long nail is is digging into a chalkboard. Oh my. That's the best comment so far, I'm telling you. Their need to push their stance on sensitive matter, which is apparently I can't type or it won't post, is cringeworthy. I agree. I am not saying it's not worth well to shed some light on these issues sometimes with a nuance. That's the thing, it's not nuance with Supergirl. That is easy to swallow. But to have every episode reflect these issues and force it down your throat until you choke and then force some more down make this series very painful to watch. I agree. Star Trek balanced this perfectly, sci-fi with message or commentary on something relevant but without the need to choke on it. I don't really know about Star Trek. I'm not watching it, so I won't really speak about that. CW forgets that people watch superhero shows to lose themselves from reality and entertain themselves while watching. I agree. Not to be sidelined with issues they probably don't care about that gets pushed onto them rather than a storyline that will entertain them instead. CW always ruin things that they have a end in, except when they don't have creative control over the script. Okay, I fully understand where that person is coming from. One of the worst TV show I've ever seen in my life. Lackluster acting, tedious storyline, one-dimensional character, and cringy dialogue made it impossible to continue after watching only one season. Also, the fact that This show has such a high critic score, only emphasizes how biased and unreliable these so-called professional all too often are. I agree. That's why I don't take a look to professional critics, because they are paid, first of all, and second, they will just push down crap because they know they will get their early access and stuff. So this is funny because the comment on the right, I recognize it. That's the one I made when I used to mark down comment on Rotten Tomato. Because I used to do that before. It's been a long time I didn't post something there, but that's my comment I did when I did my season overview. So let's start off with the one on the left. This show started out with great potential, but went downhill so fast. Starting in season 4, if you watch, do yourself a favor and do not get invested in Kara's story. She basically ends up forgotten in her own show, and her character conflict don't actually get resolved. This is actually true, except for maybe her identity by season 6, but this is a season 6 topic, and right now we only cover season 1 and 2. Anyway, now move on to my comment I left more than a year ago. Good cast, bad writers. You want to watch a show that keep remind you your main character is a woman, this show is for you. Lucy Lane should be named Lucy Lane. Her character is painful to watch because the writer made her this way. The actress was great with the shit personality the writer gave her. Martian Manhunter was the only good reason to watch the show since the actor's great. The villains are boring. They are the cliche Superman villain. Boring. Cat was amazing. This show is better than Legends of Tomorrow, but it's pretty low quality. Melissa Benoist is a good Supergirl in a bad show. No surprise CBS canceled the show after a season. So I stick to everything I said. As much as I didn't really like some of the dialogue Cat had, as a character Cat is great, but sometimes her dialogue and her line are terrible. But I still think most of what I've said remained the same after rewatching again the show. Here we are with the viewership of the first season of Supergirl. It started off with the first episode with 12.96 million. It's quite good. It's really good. It's Supergirl, so it's not a surprise there. The true surprise is 8.87 on the second episode, so they lost 4 million in one episode. Oh my. This means a lot of people didn't like the first episode. Next up, we got the mid-season finale with 7.28 million on December 14th. And of course, we got Blood Bonds as the mid-season premiere with 8.75 million. So I do think for most of the first season, it was around 8 million the viewership. And keep that in mind, this was CBS airing the show. It wasn't CW yet at that point. This hurt the show a lot. Penultimate episode was 6.12 million and the season finale was 6.11 million. I say this hurt a lot because they lost half of their viewership in the first season. Oh my, maybe I'm not crazy, maybe I hit a nerve when I say the first season was terrible. What a shocking twist! Season 2 starts on the CW with half the viewership the first season had. 3.06 million with the Adventures of Supergirl. And keep that in mind, this episode was promoted as being the first time in the Supergirl TV show where we got actual Superman around. Uh, Now it's followed up by the second episode, 2.66 million. Next up, mid-season finale, 3.53 million, the highest number we got so far in the second season. Now, with the mid-season premiere, we got 2.65 million. So this season was able to maintain roughly 2 to 3 million viewer, which is really good considering it's CW. Viewership has dropped. Not by that much so far, but it still has dropped. With the mid-season penultimate, it's actually the penultimate episode, 1.93 million. And the season finale, 2.12 million. So, yeah, very interesting numbers there. Maybe I am not the only one that didn't like Season 2. I'd like to start by saying that this first season of Supergirl was all over the place. So far, this is the tier list as I am rewatching the TV show. And as you can see, most of the episodes are underneath C. Well, I should say, there's a 50% of the season under D and a 50% above C. Which makes it 50-50, right? But there's the thing, that was the first season, and I feel like in some of the cases, I was too generous, but hey, there's a start everywhere, right? I do think Myriad episode 19 was the best episode of the season by a lot. I was actually surprised on how good this episode was, considering how bad the show is during this first season. I was surprised because I didn't find that many issues. So this was actually a good episode. But most of the time, these episodes were bad. And I will add more to this. Usually in my tier list, I have A+ tier. But I feel like this TV show doesn't deserve it, because it's a really bad TV show. But hey, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I will create A+ at some point as I am watching the third season. Anyway, that was the tier list for the first season, and I think Red Faced and Human for a Day were two really, really, really bad episodes. They were fillers, and Human for a Day was basically another episode where our main character get deconstructed by losing its powers, because we have not seen that before in other shows, right? Almost every season of Smallville had that, and it was much better back in the day. Oh yeah, and The Flash, they also did that, right? Right? At the end of season 2, at the start of season 1, even season 6 of The Flash did it. Wow. Titan 4th season did it. There's a bunch of show that does that kind of storyline. Now, I hope you understand how I feel toward that kind of storyline. It's been overdone. I am fed up with it. So here we are with this first season, more recent watch. There was more bad than good in it. I tried to take a look to the show with a more critical lens, with a more critical point of view, this show is actually worse and better than what I remembered. And I've already seen the first 3 seasons at least 2 or 3 times. The first time was when it was airing. The second time was like because I wanted to review the show over this channel with my overview. And now we are with the third watch for this retrospective. This is a girl power TV show. This is a feminist TV show. The idea is good. I like feminist when it's done properly by good writer, when the writers are actually clever enough. Which is not the case with people making this Supergirl TV show. Each single time they can, they remind you how powerful the girls are in this show. How Cat is powerful, how Lucy is powerful, how Supergirl is powerful. They need to remind you each time they mention them. They are women, they are girls, they are strong. The dialogue is piss poor, if you understand what I meant. Some of the dialogue is awful. I was rolling my eyes in many cases. A lot of the dialogue in this show is not natural, and it's only to empower these women. Now I am asking you, if you are a woman and you are watching this video, did you felt empowered each time they reminded you these are women, because you cannot see them being women, you know? Did you feel the power they wanted to send, the message they wanted to show? The characters in this show are not really great. Some are fine, but sometimes characters are really annoying, one-dimensional. The military people, they are all one-dimensional. Most of the time they were obstacle, and they went on a witch hunt to go after Johns while we had these aliens taking over the world, because this looked like a good idea. Okay, the show wanted that kind of drama and pressure to happen, I guess. Non and Astra, two really bad main villain. Maxwell Lord was a third villain this season, and this third villain was actually amazing. I can't believe they came up with that character. He was actually the best part of this first season, and sadly we won't see him in future season. Love triangle. Every man in this show must be in love with Kara. All these relationships forced into this show because they want this show to feel like a love story or something. Too much romance. I was rolling my eyes. Kara and James, they don't have chemistry, but yet they really want them to be a couple. Lucy was one of the worst characters I've ever seen on TV. She is obnoxious. She is driven by her hatred toward people who lie. I just didn't like that character at all. Every episode she's in, the material the writer are giving her is bad. It's really bad. And it's sad because I've seen what the actress could do with good material. Superman and Lois second season. We actually had the same actress playing a different version of Lucy. And guess what? Even if that other Lucy at the end of the season was kind of bad, it was still done by good writers, and she was able to give a good performance, and her character in the Superman and Lois TV show felt real. In this Supergirl TV show, she just felt like a wet dream of a feminist that dream about being someone important in the military. That's all Lucy felt in this season of Supergirl. Because lies are a very lazy plot device. We got at some point Alex killing Astra, Kara aunt. And guess what? Because Johns, Martian Manhunter, is a great father figure, and because he wants to protect the family and he wants to take the fall instead of risking destroying the relationship between Kara and Alex, well, he took the hit. He took the fall. Guess what happened next? Kara, instead of understanding why John did what he did, she lashed out, she was angry, she separated her way from the DEO, and that was bad. That was really bad. Let's speak about the crossover between The Flash and Supergirl. That was a 1 week episode. It was bleeding of issues. Even if Barry, aka The Flash, was the best part of this episode, he could not save it because these writers are bad at writing. Oh my. So now, at that point in the show, it's been many weeks that Supergirl went rogue because of red kryptonite made by Maxwell Lord. She did crazy stuff, she became dangerous, people lost faith in her. And now in that episode 18, it's been addressed. This wasn't solved at the start of the episode. But guess what? At the end of the episode, the city rise up and stand up because Supergirl saved people again. That's funny because episode 17, episode 16, she did save some people. But I guess that wasn't enough. They wanted to drag on that storyline where the city is against Supergirl for many weeks. Oh yeah, in episode 17, it was very convenient for Silver Banshee, I think, the villain that will eventually scream and have hatred toward both Kara and Supergirl. It was very convenient that she was able to access Supergirl, aka Kara, email. It was very convenient. Now, I was glad they solved that topic, that plot, very fast. And I was glad to see Kat dealing with that pretty fast after it happened. And Kat is actually a really smart character. She's actually a really good character. She is the kind of character we should seek to be instead of the whining Lucy. Episode 13, I believe, was the one where Kara was trapped into a fake version of Krypton because of some parasite. That was a very interesting episode. I liked it a lot. I was surprised. That was actually one of the few good episodes to mention there. Supergirl TV show also liked to push down your throat, force down your throat, lots of political agenda, uh, and Sam Lane as a character was bad. He was part of the military. This show is a mess. This show was entertaining, but it was bad. It wasn't good. The first season was really terrible. Is it the worst thing I've seen? No, I've seen worse, but it's really low. It's done by the wrong people. Very simple. Another thing that bothered me, we got many Kryptonian with super strength and stuff. But guess what? The humans still stand a chance. Sometimes the fight were really bad. Uh, Plot armor on the cast, plot armor on whoever is part of the regulars. Some cannon fodder, they can die, it's fine. But if it's John, he can't. If it's Alex, she can't. That's fine. I can understand. You want to keep these actors around. You want to keep these characters around. But there's the thing. Don't put pressure on them. Don't put tension on them if you're just going to plot armor 2000 on them. The villain's goal went from bad to worst. So at first they want to enslave humans. They can't, so they want to wipe them out. Oh yeah, and Non is also all about revenge. Right. Half of the episode in this season were filler. The character becoming Banshee later on, the one that can scream and that really ate Kara, the assistant number 2, she is a really bad character. And I like to share this there. They really wanted the viewer to feel sorry when Silver Banshee got fired by Cat. They had the sad music playing, and that was meant to be a sad moment. But because of bad writing, it failed. They failed. This person was an awful person, and she deserved to be fired. She wanted to surpass Catco. She wanted to use Catco. She wasn't there to help. She wasn't there to be a good element. She wanted to take what she could take from someone else and then move on with life and laugh at others like Kara. She was saying basically, in the future, when I will be wealthy, when I will be powerful, you will work for me, Kara. This is some villainous thinking. It's not because you are telling me a sad backstory that I will be sorry if your character get fired. She was a villain before she had powers. So writers, why did you expect in me to feel sorry? Because she's a woman? Men also lose their job. When they deserve it, they lose their job. Everyone does. A good writer could pull this one off and make you feel sorry even for a villain losing. Sometimes when you see a villain losing, if that villain was well written, well created, well built, you will feel sorry when that villain will fail. But in that character case, no, I cannot feel sorry because she was a bad character from the start. Some of the scenes are emotional throughout the show, and some have good build up, but that girl getting fired? No. No. Overall, Supergirl first season should deserve a 4 out of 10. Just like Arrow fourth season, it's rock bottom when we speak about comic book TV shows. The only few seasons that could be worse are later season in the Legends of Tomorrow TV show. So yeah, Supergirl first season failed, for me at least. It wasn't a good TV show, and it's sad because I do think Kara actress Melissa Benoist is doing a good job. Now, I've heard in the comics Supergirl is very different, and I hope in the next live action iteration we will get a more comic book accurate Supergirl. That could be interesting because, let's be honest, this Supergirl in this TV show just feels like gender swapped Superman. But that's fine because Supergirl still exists in the comics. And I'm sure there are still some comics out there that reflect this version of Supergirl, but I just wish we had more than just gender swapped Superman. That's all I am wishing for. And this is interesting because I mentioned that. I feel like the third season, my favorite season of the show, had that vibe of a different Supergirl. Having a different approach and feeling like your own character. But this feeling was only in the first half of that third season. But anyway, I cannot wait to cover season 3. Season 4 was also another really good season. So anyway, season 1, a failure. It's a really rough start for the Supergirl TV show. If I wasn't making YouTube content, I don't think I would ever rewatch Supergirl. Or maybe I would, but I would only watch later seasons of the show. Because as the show went on, the show got a bit better, I think. Here we are with Season 2. Season 2. The critics, as usual, they are sellout. Their opinion is full of crap. Audience 56%. I can understand why. Let's read out some comment out of curiosity. Here we are with the first 4. A deeper, more powerful continuation that I could debatedly say is superior to the first season. I agree. Perhaps the whole romance angle is a bit cheesy. A bit? Really? The worst episode in the entire show revolves around Mr. Pizlik and freaking Monel and freaking Kara. That was full of crap. Anyway, perhaps its whole romance angle is a bit too... Well, not a bit. It was too cheesy. No. But it keeps true to the spirit of Supergirl with strong concept and thrilling fight scene to make it all fun. It's actually 4 stars and a half, so I'm assuming this is like 9 out of 10. Man, that person really liked it. Moving to the CW was the right choice. Loved it. I actually agree. That may sound weird, but I agree with that. Season 2 was clearly better. 2 stars and a half. That reflects very well the score I was giving. Actually, maybe it's me. I think it's actually my comment I did. So this is my comment I did like more than a year ago. Better than season 1. The bar is still very low. I agree. Well, I said it, so... The main villain feels different than the usual Superman villain, but that doesn't mean we got a good main villain. I'm sure that's my comment. The season started great, and the more episodes you see, the worse the show is getting. Cadmus' storyline was much better than Daxamite's story. Monel was interesting. Monel mother was so atrocious to see. Lena was a very interesting new character. I was scared they would only make her dollar store legs or female legs. They didn't take her that way, which was good. The show got rid of annoying Lucy, aka Lucy Lame. Thanks. The over quality of the show is higher since CW took over. CBS was the wrong network for the show. Superman came in the show and he was great until they ruined him later on the season. Anyway, the show got better there. I still stick to most of that. Yeah. I think that reflects well. Maybe not the 5 out of 10 because it's actually more of a 4.5 out of 10. Anyway, let's move on. So, next up. Show more. That one is long. The only achievement of Season 2 is that it's better than Season 1. That is only because they are able to bring in more lore into it. Finally, Superman makes an appearance over here. We are also introduced to Mon-El, whom Kara had severely wronged. But then she learned her lesson and decided never to be racist toward anyone ever again. That's actually right. I agree. Speaking of racism, it seems that is what the theme of the season is. I agree. There are multiple alien species who have come up and started living on this planet. The previous Hank Shaw has become cyborg. Superman, don't get excited. He is nothing like the one from the death of Superman and Return of Superman. We also get to see Spivlik, whose role here is only to simp behind Supergirl. I agree. I skipped that episode. We have the Dynamite as the bad guys over here, who are at least more competent than the House of Fails. I agree. The season is once again very boring and makes Kryptonian look like a bunch of wimp. But like I said, it's at least better than season 1. Oh my, this is the harsh truth. I agree. I can stand behind that person. To say this show is unbearable would be an understatement. The lack of action is already bad enough, but the atrocious VFX and the terrible writing are just insulting. Oh my. These people cannot argue with you, man. You make more sense than a lot of things. My wife and I were keeping up with all the CW superhero shows in the Arrowverse until this season of Supergirl. The writer focused so much on being progressive that they forgot to write believable stories. I agree. The cheesiness was worse than any superhero show we've seen. None of the characters felt natural and none of them flowed. This show forced us to completely pull out of the Arrowverse. It is rotten. I understand where you are coming from. This season, the show went downhill fast. Thanks, CW. Okay. Terrible writing and acting. I agree. Painful to watch. Amazing they renewed it. These comments are golden, bruh. I am just done watching Supergirl first 2 episodes in the second season. Now, I will say this. I already see some kind of improvement. It's already a lot better than the first season. Now, I remember the back half of this second season as being the worst part of this season, making this season really hard to watch. But if I remember correctly, the first half is actually very enjoyable. It still has a few issues here and there, I won't lie. The biggest issue I had with episode 2 was when Alex took a hit in her face and she survived, and the guy had super strength. Yeah. Now, some people may say, oh, but she had that suit. Yes, but she didn't add any helmet, and the guy had super strength. Outside of that, people still cannot aim. They just shoot and they miss because plot armor need them to miss. Another thing, yes, another thing. There's a lot of things, right? The forced relationship James and Kara had in between season 1 and 2. These scenes with them in the first episode were the worst because they don't have chemistry. I could get it, they are good friends. But I never bought into them having a relationship because they don't have chemistry. Because it was always weird. And either it's the acting or the writing of both characters, but it always felt really, really weird having them kissing and hugging, you know, couple stuff, you know. It's just not a good romance. So why do you push it down our throat if it doesn't make sense? Lena also appeared in the first episode of season 2, and she's actually very interesting because they really want to tell you she's not Lex. And if I remember correctly, in the second season at least, she wasn't Lex. She turned into Lex in season 5. And she had lots of issues with season 3, but Lena was actually good in the only episode we got with her. Sometimes the writing of the dialogue is still not really great. It's much better than the first season. It's still a very feminist show, but it's less on the nose and it's less like, I'm stronger, I'm stronger. So yeah, Martian Manhunter. I barely spoke about him in season 1, but John Jones was the best part with Maxwell Lord of season 1. And we get more John Jones, and this season he's not afraid to show up, and they are not afraid to spend money on CG for him to appear as the Martian Manhunter. The fight choreography is not that great. It's entertaining. There's action. Both episodes had a lot of things. Now, I didn't mention him yet, but Superman, Tyler Hoechlin. He is very interesting. I enjoyed a lot Superman. For once, they actually had the right to use him, and he was more than just a shadow in a cape. And that's great. I really like that aspect of it. In season 1, I barely mention him because the few times he appears, he is just a shadow because they didn't add proper rights. They could use him, but they could not cast someone into him. And they actually got these rights with season 2. And if I remember correctly, they got rights for like 4 episodes or 3 episodes. One of the two, I can't remember. So, in the first 2 episodes we have Superman. We will have him either in episode 21 or 22 of season 2. So, I have seen Superman and Lois first 2 seasons as I am recording this. And I've seen season 1 twice or 3 times. I can't remember. I think 3 times? Maybe twice. I can't remember. I know I've only seen season 2 once, but I believe it's a based on the show themselves, they say it's a different character, but I believe it is a very different character in Supergirl and Superman and Lois. I think in Supergirl he looks like a very comic book accurate character. He is really funny and entertaining, and you really see a difference between the way he is as Superman and the way he is as Clark. In the dialogue, in the acting, it's good. I think he embodies both Clark Kent and Superman very well. Now, in Superman and Lois, I think he embodies both role very well as well. He is also great because it's the same actor. But I think the difference between both is not as big as what it was in the Supergirl TV show. So, yeah. Maybe I'm wrong because it's so far away the last time I've seen both season of Superman and Lois, but on my next rewatch I will see if I'm right on that statement I just did. Good start for season 2, and I can forgive the atrocious first season with these first 2 episodes. I'm looking forward to rewatch the rest. It's still not like the best show out there, I know, but it's entertaining. I am done watching for the 3rd time Supergirl Season 2 Episode 3 and 4. I will say this, Superman is missing, which is fine, it's Supergirl TV show, but I felt it, like, really hard. So the really good start was because of Superman. And it's kinda sad. I will admit it, it's kinda sad. Episode 2 and, well, I should say, episode 3 and 4 feels much more like the start of the season. And episode 1 and 2 felt like something in between 2 seasons. Maybe that's why it was this good, and maybe that's why Superman role was in a short amount of episode like that. Episode 4 is the worst of the first 4. But episode 3 and 4 have a lot of issues with the dialogue. Remember in season 1 when I said feminism is wrong when poorly handled and the show didn't handle feminism correctly, properly. Well, this season, it's still a feminist show, but it's not as bad. No, they are able to have bad dialogue with other teams outside of feminism. And it's really sad. I feel like so far with the 3rd and the 4th episode, the writer were like, last season was all about feminist, this season is all about diversity. I'm fine with diversity. I liked Legion, and Legion showcased all sorts of diversity. But here's the thing, it was handled by good writer and writer that had respect for their audience. And these writers were also really smart, so they could handle diversity well. The Legion video is coming eventually. This is a great TV show. So anyway, Supergirl diversity message is handled by stupid people that probably spend a lot of hours going through Twitter and going through that kind of media where needs to be some kind of echo chamber. The dialogue is really bad, and it does damage a lot this season so far. And even the writing of the story itself, there's a lot of plot convenience here and there. Some of the characters are more plot device than characters. Season 1, Supergirl felt like a character that was like, don't judge the book by its cover. But in this season, to create some kind of drama between characters, they threw that away. Mon-El is, at first, Kara's worst enemy even if he did nothing wrong. And this is funny because they also forgot about Cadmus. Remember Cadmus? They hated aliens and they wanted to kill aliens. And in the third episode, instead of having Cadmus as the main suspect of the attempt murder of the president, it's Mon-El because Mon-El escaped. Okay, whatever, guys and girls, just forgot about Cadmus being a thing and Mon-El was your only suspect until you realized there are other aliens out there. Okay. At least I was entertained, but I feel like it's not where this show can be. It's filled of politics and the message all over the place. I just wished these writers that really wants diversity showcase, I really wished they were better as writers and they were smarter as people, because it's really on the nose dialogues and it makes my eye roll so much. And it's funny because I've just seen Legion first 3 seasons because we did cover Legion over my Red Blue podcast. So I've just seen 3 seasons of Legion, and guess what? In Legion, we did add a lot of diversity. I think this is one of the most diverse show I've seen. Because there's a lot of allegory and there's a lot of message about diversity there. But I didn't hate it. I didn't feel like diversity in Legion damaged the show because it was handled by good writers and smart people. But when it's handled by bad writers, we get Supergirl. A show that people laugh at because of memes. The show created themselves by accident. These first 4 episodes were indeed better than the first 4 episodes of the first season, but they are still not that great. Episode 1 and 2 were really good, but episode 3 and 4 are slowly falling apart. And if I remember correctly, the season only gets worse. It will be better than season 1 if I don't really change my mind with this most recent watch. But it won't be that amazing. It's not a good TV show right now. Before we move on with this video, I must speak about Mon-El just a little bit. At the start of the season, he is a very relatable character, a very interesting character. He has a lot of charisma, and he has what seems to be a very sad backstory, and at first, he lies to the audience and Kara. But we don't know as viewer. We only know it if we have seen the season more than once, which is the case with me. And I understand 100% why they decided to make Mon-El a liar. Because if we knew the truth from the get-go, it would be much harder as a viewer to connect with him. Because he is a very selfish character. I could relate to him even knowing that. But not everyone could. And he could be received and it could be seen by many as a very unlikable character if we knew the truth behind him being a survivor of Daxon. So Monel, very good character, and I cannot wait to rewatch his story arc. So here we are with the 5th episode of Supergirl's 2nd season. That episode was actually surprising. It was an average episode, but I say surprising because it could be worse. It could be season 1 bad, but it's not. Here again, the dialogue is not that great. It feels weird. Uh, and here's the thing, Jimmy. I know it's a superhero TV show, and I know it's a TV show, so character gets stuff to do, but there's a big but. I think in this episode, Jimmy was really stupid. He was placing his life on the line. He has no armor, no superpower. That's very weird. He got lucky to survive. But that whole storyline, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Now, is it the worst part of the show? No, no. Guardian in later episode will actually be interesting, but I feel like Jimmy was just there to have screen time. Yes, he has a storyline of his own. He is now the boss of Catco, and we see how this changed him and how he does things now. And this is very interesting. But him being out in the field against people with powerful weapon that can kill Supergirl, that feels very weird for me. Now, this episode was very funny. I enjoyed a lot. Lena is a great character. She is smart and she's interesting. She's really good. We also have a subplot I'm not a big fan of. Maggie Sawyers. I understand she could be useful because she's a cop, and sometimes cops do work with the DEO. That could be fine. But I feel like they're giving her too much screen time, for me at least. She's not really there for the entire cast. Her only purpose is to be a plot device for Alex growth. Plot device character are really bad. Gotham had a lot of plot device character, and I did criticize a lot Gotham for doing that. So I must criticize Supergirl as well, to be fair. Maggie is not needed in the show, but they want her because they want to make Alex a diverse character, which is fine, but Maggie is not a good character. She is just a plot device, and she goes into a trope. Not yet, but you will see in season 3. And I also remember season 3 having a great season, and that Alex and Maggie relationship dragged down the show a lot, and it did hurt the show a lot. So this is what happens when you want really hard romance into your show. You end up taking away stuff. Cadmus as a villain, Lena Mother being the leader is Very interesting. I enjoy that storyline. Cadmus are not the best villain in the show, but they are much better than Non and Astra. And what really bothers me with Cadmus is the fact that they are just racist, basically. They are racist with weapon and money. They are still good villains because they're threatening, they do stuff, they can hurt Supergirl, they can change the world, so they are a good villain, but I think deep down the message they want to bring with Cadmus is not well handled. It's on the nose. They ate Alien. Alien could also be perceived as diversity, so they are racist. The villain of Supergirl are racist. It's very political in its politics. That's it. Is it awful? No, I've seen worst. I've seen worst. Batwoman. Um, but yeah, Cadmus, they are a good villain, but I'm bothered a lot by their motive, why they do what they do. And Lena Mother is the best part of it. But yeah, episode so episode 5 is average. It's just in the middle. There are a few better episodes in season 1 and 2. The first two episodes were clearly the best episode so far in this season. And there are a few episodes in season 1 that were better than this one. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see more. That season is just fine so far. I'm entertained. It's not the best the Arrowverse came up with, but it's not the worst either. So I am fine watching it again. I've seen Flash season 5 a few weeks ago, so I still have like some kind of PTSD from that. Anyway, let's move on with the video. I am just done watching episodes 6, 7, and 8 of Supergirl. Now, these 3 episodes were actually better than what we had after Superman left. So these are really good episodes. But here again, I don't really care about Alex and her relationship with Maggie. I feel like it's just there to feel some screen time, to pretend Alex has some kind of storyline for herself this season. I guess it is a storyline, but I still don't care about that. They are also trading romance between Mon-El and Kara. Whatever. I don't care about that subplot as well. And I actually remember how it goes in the back half of this season, and this will be terrible. This will also be the worst part of the 3rd season. Oh my, Mon-El and Kara. Mon-El as a character is actually very interesting. He is a very flawed character, and I could understand the hate some people may have toward that character, but he is only redemption arc. He is starting from bottom to go all the way up, and that's the point of that character. That's what makes him so interesting. Lena as a character, I enjoy her a lot. She is not Lex. That's great. I repeat myself on that, but I need to tell it again. If she was just female Lex, she would be a weaker character. But she is a character of her own, which is very, very interesting. Some of the dialogue is not that great. And here again, we see lies building tension between character. Amazing. I really hate when lies are only plot device to break apart some relationship between characters. It's really awful, and we can tell Monel at that point is hiding something from Kara. And he's not the only one, James as well. And it's funny how Alex told him, or I forgot who, but maybe it was actually Win. One of these characters tell James, you should tell Kara it's a bad idea to keep that secret from her. Which is true, don't do that. But hey, this is CW, so let's have bad drama between characters. Overall, I was entertained. This season is clearly a step up in comparison of season 1. It's a much better season, and it has less filler in it, which is great. Cadmus as villains were interesting for the first half until we get the back half villain. The back half villain. Supergirl, Season 2, Episode 9. That was the worst episode we got in this season. Now, there's a lot of episodes that are much worse in the first season, but I must say it here and there because we are there. The writing of this episode is on the wall. It was entertaining, I won't lie. There was a lot of action, and they were creative at some extent. But here's the thing, the plot. Human trafficking looks like a good idea until it's only planet with a red star, so here again, Supergirl doesn't have powers. Wow. I have not seen that before, right? 2 episodes last season where she was powerless. Now, this planet was also toxic for Martian. It's a way to nerf Martian Manhunter to rise the tension. We also got the Maggie and Alex subplot that I don't give a F about. So, what bothers me the most about this episode is everything happens because Monel is dumb, and everything happens because characters are doing dumb stuff. So, Kara and Monel, well, yeah, they investigate on missing people case for a article they will write, or actually an article that Kara plans on writing. So they find that warehouse and that portal that leads to another planet. Now, Kara is smart, but Monel is dumb because the plot wants him to be dumb. So Kara tells Monel, go tell the DEO, because this is the right thing to do. But because Monel is too stupid to listen, and because the plot wants him to be this way, Monel just follow with Kara on that other planet. And then the portal closes. Great, right? They then think it's a good idea to go rescue these people, knowing fully they don't have any powers. Now, because the villains this week are stupid, and because the plot wants the good guys to win, everything is easy, and at the end, Dio shows up and Supergirl saves everyone. Yeah. So that may look like something good, but the sole fact that Monel was really dumb and he didn't listen to Kara bothers me a lot. and then the characters, because they are dumb, they do more dumb stuff like going in a fortress without powers. Okay, whatever. In one episode, Win is scared to go on the battlefield again. And at the end of the episode, that conflict is already solved. So this new entry in the show feels like a filler. I will say this, it feels like it's probably the first filler episode this season because it's not canvas linked. It's only linked with the worst part of this season being the Daxamite Monel family, you know? It's the only thing that linked this episode to the back half. And it's not that great. Alex and Maggie are still a thing. Monel is still in love with Kara, but he doesn't tell her. Win and Guardian are still a team on the field. Nothing changed in that episode. Nothing. The Daxamite learn about Earth, and they learn that Monel is there. That's the only relevant thing in the entire episode, and this is the cliffhanger. They are looking for Monel. So this episode is really bad, and the dialogue sometimes is really bad because it's Supergirl and the writers making this show are not really good. It's a shame. It's sad, but it's life. Supergirl Season 2 Episode 10. This episode was great until lies created conflict. Classic CW. Kara learns that James was Guardian. Now, of course, they have a chat with Alex, Win, James, Kara. And this is funny how Alex kind of broke by accident the fourth wall by saying, I told them many weeks ago to tell you. But guess what? They wanted lies to affect the storyline. They wanted lies to create growth in the characters' relationships, which is bad. I don't like that. So of course, Kara, for good reason, is very angry because she's like, you're a human, James. You can die. You do not have 9 lives. Which is true. And guess what? They just don't learn. Because in the same episode, James and Guardian lie again to Kara. James and Win, I should say. Rewind this. James and Win, they lie again. They lie again. They want to prove themselves. And they thought it was a good idea to go alone after Livewire and the other villain. James, all he has is a suit. And Livewire is strong enough to put out a fight with Supergirl. Did you really thought it would go well? Did you really thought you would win the fight? And of course, because Mon-El as a character is a work in progress, he wants to go with them. Now, I understand why they did this. They really want Mon-El to improve as a character, and they really want to work on that character. But to show growth, what you could have done is make Monel tell Supergirl what's going on with Livewire instead of going in her back again. That could be a great idea, but no, they really wanted James and Monel to be captured, so they go behind Kara back, proving Kara points. Now, because this is Supergirl, some of the dialogue is really bad, and Livewire as a character does improve, but her lines and her dialogue and her one-liners are still awful because these writers, they don't know how to make good dialogue. Now, with that out of the way, this episode was still very good. Even if I had issues with it, I do think this is one of the best episodes we had this season. Now, this is very interesting because this episode didn't add Cadmus or more of the Daxamite storyline. So we could, at first looks, we could say it was a filler, but it's not. Because that episode builds up on Martian Manhunter and his new girlfriend relationship. And that episode also builds up Monel and Kara. Now, I said it many times, I don't care about romance, I don't like that. But I do think Martian Manhunter and his girlfriend makes sense because they are the last survivors of a species. And they are a good match. But even there, I like them a lot because they are really in the background. That future relationship is really a supporting relationship. It doesn't feel like it's just there to fill some screen time. It's an important part to Martian Manhunter's storyline this season. John Johns this season is getting good material. So I don't really mind that relationship. Now, the Kara and Monel aspect of it, not the biggest fan, but I still think they're a good match, and I will go further with this. In season 2, it will be bad, but this relationship will lead to good things in season 3. So I can forgive that. And I'm actually on board with Monel and Kara because I know why they are building that relationship there. And I like the reason. It's not just to fill some screen time. It's to change Kara as a character. And it's also to change Monel as a character. So Monel as a character is more than what he was when he was first introduced. So this episode is a standout episode, and I will admit I actually liked this episode more than the 2 episodes we had with Superman. And the biggest reason is the John John's storyline about forgiveness. I liked it a lot. So sometimes Supergirl does good things, and other times it's sad to look at, it's sad to hear at, it's sad to watch at. Supergirl is not the best show out there, but it's not the worst either. It's watchable, it's entertaining, and it's enjoyable. Season 2 is a huge step up. It's much better than Season 1. Season 1, I was rolling my eyes a lot. Season 2, I roll my eyes here and there, but it's not anywhere near as bad as Season 1. So I do think moving to CW was a good thing for Supergirl. Supergirl's second season is not consistent for me. And here's the why. Episode 12, I believe, or episode 13, I can't remember. That episode title was Looters. That was hands down the best episode we had this season. But then it's followed by a really bad episode, a filler episode, a eyes rolling episode with episode 13 Mr. Bislick, the guy we cannot pronounce his name, the guy that create musical crap, the guy that want to make Kara fall in love with him. I'm having headache just to think about it. That's godly awful. These writers, man, they are so bad. I am losing brain cell just to think about that episode. It's hands down the worst episode we had with the first two seasons. Supergirl's second season has hit and miss episodes. Sometime you will be glad to watch the show, other time you are wondering why. Supergirl Season 2 Episode 14. Right after a really awful filler episode, we get a very important episode, but here's the thing. Important doesn't mean good. The entire plot is very contrived, if I can call it that way. So, it was very easy for the DEO to capture one of Cadmus' prisoners, being Kara, foster father, and Alex, biological father. At first glance, you're like, okay, that could be a very interesting plot, right? A mole inside DEO. But then you get Mon-El, the very good character, and I really believe that Mon-El was the best part of this episode. It was the voice of reason, but because the characters are really stupid in this show, because the writers are not that great, nobody believes Mon-El. Nobody. The result, well, the mole ended up being a mole, and the mole is accepted open arm into the DEO. And guess what? He's still data, very important data. So the very secret spy organization that the DEO is actually a joke, because it was so easy to infiltrate it. Each time Mon-El was telling people, that's suspect, that's sus, it doesn't add up. Each time I was clapping because he was freaking right, but hey, people don't trust him, he's not family. This is the level of writing this season has. Sometimes you get really good episodes, other time you get important episodes that are really poorly written. Oh yeah, we also got one of the worst fight scene we could dream of. Here's the thing, Martian Manhunter is really OP. He is really OP. There is no way the Alex father would be able to overpower Martian Manhunter. I don't believe that. In the same fight, Martian Manhunter phases through Alex's father. He phases through Jeremiah. I think that's Jeremiah, the name of the father. So he phases through the guy, but the finishing blow, the hit on the head Martian Manhunter got, well, he didn't phase through it because they really wanted Jeremiah to escape. Now, I will admit it, I like it when Supergirl TV show is smart enough to give some trap for the villain to use to force Supergirl into saving people and then they run away. I like that kind of trope, and I think these make sense, so I will praise that. The train thing where they basically destroyed a train track and that forced Supergirl to run away. But the sole fact that Jeremiah defeated freaking Martian Manhunter in a fist fight like that, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. It bothers me so much. And I felt nothing with the betrayal Jeremiah did. In the forest, it was meant to be very emotional. It was meant to be that scene where you feel sorry for the characters. But in fact, it was handled poorly because we have seen it coming from miles away. You knew things were not adding up. You just knew it because Mon-El was smart enough. He was smarter than everyone else in the show. Now I must address a subplot. I don't give a crap about Win and his girlfriend. Why everyone need to be in a freaking relationship? Why? Why do you force relationship like that into your character? Look, that alien girl, she is cool. She is enjoyable. But she's not needed. She is filler material. She doesn't matter to the bigger scheme. I know in later episodes she will matter. I forgot which episode she will be in, but there's like that one or two episode where she is kind of relevant because she's like the freak of the week. But even there, I don't care about romance. I'm there to see superhero stuff. But hey, this is Supergirl. You cannot expect too much from them. Every single character needs to be on a relationship. So this episode was hands down the second worst episode this season. And I know with the next few episodes it will only get either worse or it will be as bad as this. Because I remember the back half, the ending of this season being really, really bad. They missed the shot there. The first half was enjoyable, but when I see like the deal being that stupid, Mon-El, man, Mon-El, the voice of reason. Episode 15 start off really badly. I rolled my eyes on how cringe this was. A musical, people singing in the car, and a really bad joke about them being bad singers. No crap, for real? Are you joking? Now, as I am recording this, I've only seen 5 minutes of this episode, Exodus, and I feel like we are in for a crazy trip. Right now it's on S rank because I always start off in S plus, and when I find issues, I'm like, let's knock off points, let's make it go downhill from now on. So it can only get worse for me. There's no way that episode will be any higher than this. So let's see if it will be able to stay there or if it will go really low. The next major issue. Alex's erratic behavior. Oh my, oh my. She fell for John's trap. Even if his methods are not the best, it worked. I will go further with this. Maggie and Alex decided to go after the thugs, even if John's decided to bench Alex because she's unstable and she's dangerous for everyone, which is the truth. And yeah, Alex and Maggie team up was actually interesting. I like that a lot. Maggie is a very likable character. Even if I don't care about the relationship, she is still a good character. I enjoy her a lot. So my issue comes after they saved one of the alien. Maggie offers some help to Alex, and Alex declines. This is stupid. Alex doesn't have the backup of anyone, and knowing how unstable she is, I'm pretty sure she won't tell anybody, so she could run into a trap. She can get captured, or worse. But hey, this is Supergirl, so everything will be fine, even if this sounds stupid to do. The writing of the show is on the wall. No normal person would do such thing. Going into enemy territory without backup, it's ridiculous. I mean, they have Alien able to freaking compete with Supergirl. Just look at the original Ink shot. Cyborg Superman. He is able to compete with freaking Supergirl. And apparently Jeremiah is able to compete with Martian Manhunter. So tell me, Alex, how do you plan on winning this one over? Lena, as usual, great character. This was Lena's best season, I think. I have another big issue there. The characters are smart only when they need to be. Lena is a very smart character, but she still swallow Kara lies. She still doesn't understand Kara is Supergirl. And it was very convenient that Kara was speaking with Lena at the moment where Liliana Luthor sent her minion after Lena. And this is funny how Lillian said nothing permanent, and the minion decided to just push Lena down the ledge of the like floor number 30 or something. Anyway, I mentioned that because Maggie didn't took long to figure it out. Maggie understood that Kara was Supergirl, and she is smart, but Lena should be smarter because it's Lena, one of the most brilliant, one of the most smart character, one of the smartest character in the show. She is clever, and yet she doesn't see through the disguise Supergirl wear or Kara wears. Call it the way you want. It bothers me a lot that Maggie was able to understand everything and Lena doesn't. And Lena spent much more time with Kara. It's sad because Lena should be smarter than this. Hell, Kara should be smarter than this. She should use some kind of stuff that Barry used in season 1, changing his voice. If Kara would do the same, it could be great. But no, it's Supergirl, so people are only smart when the plot wants them to be smart. I am done rewatching Supergirl second season. That was rough. We had a few good episodes in the back half. I will admit it, I will not lie on that. The Alex episode was kinda good, I liked it a lot. The season finale was also kinda good, it had a lot of impact, and they do set up good things for season 3. We also had Race Reporter, that was the interesting episode. But then you look back at New Coming, that was an awful episode. You look back to Mr. and Mrs. Mr. Pislick, episode 13, that was awful. You look back at The Lost Children, that was another rough episode to rewatch. Overall, the first half of the second season was really good. The biggest reason why was Cadmus. Cadmus was the best part of this season by far. Then in the back half, we get a Daxamite, a worst version of Astra and Nun. Like we needed that. I feel like the Daxamite didn't deserve to be the last villains this season. Is it a right issue where the writer could not use Cadmus for more than X amount of episode? Is it the reason? Or is it because the writer were just really bad and they wanted to showcase another villain because they thought they could build up another villain that worked? They thought. Because the Daxamite are really bad villains. It's laughable. They want to force Mon-El into coming back to them. Mon-El refuses for good reason. And then they decided to take over Earth and enslave everyone. Great! How is it different from Myriad and the Kryptonian enslaving human race? How is it different? Tell me! It's just a bad rehash of what happened in the past. I will also go further with this. Many subplots were bad. All these relationships that are forced into the show because everyone needs to be in a relationship was really annoying. Episode 21, Resist, was cringe as hell. Episode 21 was painful. It's funny how Cat, Cat is a great character played by a good actress. But the people making her dialogue, oh my! It was painful. Her dialogues felt like season 1 material. She's true to the character she was written to be in season 1. But here's the thing. Her character itself was interesting when she wasn't speaking. I think many depths are to be seen into Cat. She's a good character, but sometimes she goes too far with the feminist message. And I don't mind feminists. My favorite TV show is Stargirl. But it's because it's written by a good writer. Which is not the case with Supergirl. Cat was fine, I guess, this season, but she was just there because they could have her, I guess. She wasn't needed to this season. Let's be honest here. She was fan service. Cadmus in the first half felt like a good villain with a bit more depth. But when you really think about it, when you really look back at Cadmus, they are just racist people that hate diversity. That's all they are. And it's a bit sad because they could be better. They could be pushed further with better writers. So the Daxamite plotline was obnoxious. That was really the worst part of this back half. And Cadmus in the back half wasn't as good as in the first half. I will admit, I like the fact that Lillian actually decided with Cadmus to help out Supergirl with the invasion because it made sense. So I'm kind of fine with it. But overall, the Daxamite plot is the worst of the worst. Now, the guy that saved at some extent this season was Mon-El. Mike! He went into a great redemption arc in one season. That character felt real. He felt well written. And when you look at him, you're like, all these writers are writing one note character like Lydian, but then they write Monel, a great character. How can they end up with Rhea, one of the worst villain you can have on TV, but then make Monel? Oh, I just don't get it. Sometimes I don't understand. I also think Lena had a great character arc at some extent. And Lena is an amazing character. She works very well. She doesn't feel like Lex. She's her own character. She's not about power. She's about helping others. And she is about saving the Luther name. Now, another big issue for me, lies all over the place, lies breaking relationship apart, because this is the most lazy thing you can come up with to drive your plot forward with your characters. It's also funny how when Kara broke up with Monel, it lasted for one episode, and that episode wasn't even in the show. That was a crossover with The Flash, and it's funny because when I was rewatching The Flash third season a month ago, I actually skipped that episode, so I forgot that Monel was in it, and I realized he wasn't it because of the recap. And this is funny because the recap tells you everything you need to know from Duet. The abomination of an episode the Flash had in their third season. So overall, I think the second season of Supergirl is a step in the right direction because it was much better than the first season. There is no Lucy around. We got Rhea. That was another awful character, but hey, Non and Astra were bad in the first season. I think I would give this season a 4.5 out of 10. And now I will draw a parallel between Supergirl and The Flash here. Because I remember giving the worst season of The Flash a 4.5 out of 10 as well. I will say this, Supergirl did better job. I'd rather rewatch Supergirl's second season over The Flash fifth season. Because Monel was an actual character that had an actual character arc. He went from a zero, selfish, stupid kid into someone able to self-sacrifice. Someone able to tell the truth. Someone able to stand out for others. He became a true superhero instead of what he was at the start of the season. It also made sense the way it changed. It made sense because Kara had a good impact on him, a good effect on him. Kara is the reason why he changed. And he also changed Kara as well. So for once, a relationship actually helps a show to grow. A show on the CW could actually have a smart relationship. It's shocking, right? Now you could tell the same with Alex and Maggie, but I will be honest here. I didn't give a crap about them because Maggie was a supporting character from supporting characters. She wasn't needed, but the actress had a contract, so they gave her screen time here and there. Maggie as a character, she's fine, she's not bad, but she's not needed. She's not needed. She was just placed in that season for Alex to bounce on someone. Alex as a character is much better and more interesting. Win and his girlfriend, same thing. Wyn's girlfriend wasn't needed in the show. She wasn't needed, so their relationship was pointless. There's no point of it. I just repeated myself. I repeat myself because this is how I feel toward this show. Season 2 had a lot of miss. A lot of subplot that didn't matter. A lot of subplot that were there just to fill some screen time. And this is when you find out that a show is not well written. When you can trim down episode and the time overall of your entire season, you did something wrong. So, Supergirl second season better than The Flash, but on the same level on all bad. I mean, when I say better, it's because Monel. Monel. I can understand if people hate Monel, but even if you hate him, just look at the character itself and its growth throughout the entire season. Think about that and tell me again, can you truly hate Monel? With everything being said, here are my closing thoughts on the first 2 seasons of Supergirl. These were rough, these were hard. It had some strength, it has flaws and weaknesses. I was entertained, even if it was really bad. I was entertained. And season 1 and 2 could have been better if they were both written by a better writer. Yes, this is the truth. Writing is Supergirl's biggest weakness. And this is sad because this is a TV show. You need good writing. It was 2015 when the show came out. We already had many comic book live action TV show out. We had Gotham, we had Arrow, we had Smallville, we had The Flash, we had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Most of them were not done yet. They were ongoing, but it's still stuff you could take example on. So what happened? What went wrong for these writers to think they were doing the right thing for Supergirl?